are you? Oh, people are already in the live chat telling us where they're watching from without even me asking. People know what to do. Great, great,
They
great,
know what
great.
time it
Guys,
is.
so
They know what time it is.
they know. Yeah, so look, Kian is watching from Belgium. Spacilla is watching from Sweden. Hammers Injure is watching from USA. Sheikha is watching from India. Imran is watching from Canada. Zaid is watching from Jordan. That's amazing. By the way, you mentioned Zaid is here, so I have to mention this. We are going to talk more about the whole stuff that's happening in Gaza more on the show with Secular Rarity with Elliot. So if you guys want a more deep analysis on different sides of this and how we think about this and analyzing how other people think about this, make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell notification because there's a lot of bad takes, a lot of horrible takes on the situation. So yeah, come here for proper takes if you want. Yeah, for me and Elliot. So we'll have that. And also, yeah, so Susie, what for people who are new here, we are going to be covering religion related news from all around the world. Usually we have 9 or 10 news that we cover every week here. So if you like that, please make sure you like and subscribe and hit the bell notification. We do this every week. What countries are we covering today?
Oh my gosh, we got the US, India, California, a juicy thing coming out of California, Nigeria, kind of the Middle East in general, Israel, but not related to the recent conflict, and Japan.
Oh, wow. Oh, we have news from Israel that is not related to this conflict. Wow.
Well, because
Amazing.
here's the thing. There's a lot that we could. One, obviously, the war has absolutely dominated the news cycle, but I didn't want to make the show all about that. But luckily for me, right before the war broke out, the Associated Press released a lengthy multi-part series examining non-religious movements around the world. And they have so many different segments that we actually can't even cover all of them this week. We're going to cover more of these segments from the Associated Press next week. So I think it's amazing to see the Associated Press do an entire portfolio project about non-religious movements around the world, talk about showing global secularism, which is our movement, our mission. But also, I thought it would be nice because there is already so much hard stuff happening in the world. So most of what we're going to talk about today is very let's just talk about atheists around the world this week.
Yeah.
Really.
That's good. I like
so
that.
Yeah, it's gonna we're gonna we have one or two stories that are a little bit heavier that are important to cover, but most of this is just a very fun light week for the most part, and I think we all need that. I don't know about you. Past week has been extremely heavy on my heart and mind. I just have the personality type where this affects me deeply, and to that end, I would like to share something with our audience that helped me, and maybe it will help you guys. And basically, I was watching this video from this rabbi who happens to give very good marriage advice, but that's besides the point. And basically, he was saying that when you feel just so consumed by how much darkness there is in this world, what you need to do is go be the light for someone else. So basically, guys, if you have the opportunity to do something nice for another human, however small, it will help make you feel better. It will help make you feel better. And this isn't just some woo-woo, let's all be kumbaya stuff. There's actually psychological weight behind this. When we be of service to others, we're actually being of service to us because we get such a psychological reward from it. So guys, that's my little positive message of the week. Go be the light in someone else's world if you can. It helps give me comfort. and I hope it can give you guys comfort. What do you think about that?
We good? Yeah, that's good. I like the way you think about these things, as usual. Positive notes. Erkin is talking about positive notes. Erkin is saying, all Arminists and Susanists unite. Thank you so much, Erkin, for the super chat. Makes me actually wonder, wouldn't it be more interesting if we had a civil war in the live chat between Arminists and Susanists?
We have enough war going on this week. We don't need, Armin, we don't need competition because you and I are on each other's side 150%.
It would be fun.
No.
I know. We could be on each other's sides, but our supporters could fight with each other just for our amusement. No? We could have a competition. Or could, no, I'm kidding.
Oh
no, unite. Yeah. I think you would win that battle. Hey, that's not nice, Sheikha. We talked about being nice here, Sheikha. That's what.
Yeah, Sheikha is saying Susannanists are low IQ people, which is really amusing, Sheikha, considering that you talk about how there's not enough women in our community and you want more female representation of atheists, but yet you take this opportunity to take a shot at me, a woman.
Right at the beginning of the show.
Interesting.
Right at the beginning of show, have to just give us negative energy. Like all the people here are trying to lift us up and give us positive messages, and this is what you. Okay, you're saying this again. You continue to say that. I feel like putting her on timeout. Can I put her on timeout? I feel like banning her at some point because she just comes here and just. Can I just, Sheikha? If I see one more message like that, I will because Susanna comes here and puts time, dedicates her time for you, and this, can I just ban her?
If you want. Well, she said no. She said you asked for that.
Okay, I'm just gonna ban it. Oh, it says she's saying sorry. Okay. Okay, it's okay. Sheikha, just on Susanna comes here and just gives you her time, and I think she needs to be told that she's valuable, and she doesn't get much back for all what she does. Okay, I just want you guys to tell her to mention that in live chat. Okay.
Oh,
just mention it in live chat. Yeah. Sorry, I feel bad. Okay, it's okay. I'm okay. Okay, yeah, fine, that's good. that's cool.
Thank you,
Sheikha. All right. Okay. Yeah, I know she's okay. I know she probably doesn't mean it. I just get upset very fast because people don't know how much Susanna how much work she puts into this, right? Sorry, maybe that's my fault. That's my fault. Sheikha, I'm not gonna blame you. I was joking about civil war and stuff. I'm just gonna take full responsibility for what I said. Susanna was putting positive energy. I joked around with civil war. That's completely my fault. Sheikha, you're not to blame. I'm just going to take all that on me. Yeah, that's my fault. It's completely my fault. I'm not going to do that again. I can't even joke around here. All right. She took it too seriously. Sheikha took my joke too seriously. All right. It's okay, Sheikha. We love you.
Oh my god.
I get too upset. Oh, there we go. Sheikha is making up for that. Without you, AR wouldn't have reached where it is today. Okay, there you go. That's good. That's positive energy. Positive energy.
Oh, all right. Thank you.
Let's get to our news. Let's get to our first news. Oh my god. Why is this? This is horrible news. Are we starting with this?
Okay. We are starting out with the difficult news, but it is important. And then besides this, the vast majority of our news is very interesting and positive. Yeah. Armin,
by the way, guys, this has not been a good week at all for the world, and I think like it's taking like I know I'm trying to like keep a positive energy here, but back on the Persian channel, I have been exhausted. There's too many. Luckily, most Iranians are taking the right positions, unlike other countries in the Middle East, right? Um, which I actually want to mention this right at the beginning of the show, which how grateful I am. I try not to be like, ooh, like I don't like people celebrating members of a country just because they share the same country with them. I feel like we have to celebrate everyone in the world. Um, so I'm not saying this. I genuinely hope you believe me when I say this, that I'm not saying this because I happen to be Iranian as well. But I am genuinely so happy that we have a country with more than 85 million people, and in the Middle East, where so many bad takes are coming out of different countries around the Middle East, right? Um, there just seems to be morally that place seems to be morally bankrupt. Like we have had um, slaughtering of Jewish people, the greatest number of it happening since World War II. And people are celebrating that. People are celebrating that. Like I have, it's so hard to see how this is still possible, right? I mean, even the back in World War II, where the Yazidis, I say Yazidis because of YouTube being sensitive, they tried to hide that. They knew what they were doing was so evil. They didn't even want to let. They didn't want to let Germans know what they were doing. They didn't even want to let most of the people that work for the government to know what they were doing. But now we're saying people trying to do like these are people that if they had the means, they would commit what happened in World War II like 10 times over, right? Much more than what happened in World War II. You could see what they get away with just the little resources they have. But they don't hide it. Like unlike the Yazidis, they don't try to hide it. The Yazidis knew what they were doing was evil. That's why they hid it from the world. These people live stream it. These people record it and post it, and the reaction is celebration of it. It's just pure evil. I don't understand how this is possible. But then among all this darkness in the Middle East, we have one country where most people seem to understand the right position, and why it's such a big tragedy that this country with this people have the Islamic Republic as their government. Because if there was one ally of secular democracy and freedom and liberalism and normalization of agreements with their international community, it would have been Iran if it didn't have the government that it currently has. But instead, we get the total opposite, which is like, I think, the Islamic Republic ruling over Iran has, and all the it's the biggest missed opportunity, I think, in the history of the world. And I'm not exaggerating, given what that country could have become, both economically,
it still could
value
be
wise.
a global superpower. It could be, but its government,
Right.
even outside of the sanctions forced upon it, its government refuses to let Iran be the superpower that it could be.
Yeah, but and it would be if it had its hands untied, if the people of Iran were free, it would have not just meant secular democracy for Iran, but it would have meant it would have affected the whole Middle East, just in the same way that the Islamism of Iran right now Islamized the entirety of the Middle East. I think if it was secular democracy, it would have led a movement in the Middle East for secular democracy, which is. And also, I just want to also let people know that we need to advertise this as much as possible, that with the Islamic Republic of Iran, we can see, because it's the Islamic Republic who supported Hamas. It's the Islamic Republic that made Hamas what it is today, right? So all these Western powers constantly trying to figure out how to bring, peace in the Middle East and stability and get normalizations of relationships between different countries. You can't do that with the Islamic Republic there. No matter how much you try, it's so easy for them to come and just break everything.
Destabilize everything. The path to peace is revolution in Iran.
Right. Exactly. Perfectly said. That's perfectly summarizes. Amazing. As
well,
usual.
I didn't come up with that myself. It was a lawyer in Canada, Kayvon something. He said the path to peace in Israel and Gaza is revolution in Iran. The path to peace in Lebanon is revolution in Iran. The path to peace in Syria is revolution in Iran. The path to peace is ... And I was like, nailed it.
Yeah.
But that being said, I just really quickly. Yeah. No, before I read the super chat, I just want to say, guys, let's try to not have the comment section be just Israel, Palestine, blah, blah, blah. Like, if you're spamming it, I'm going to put you in timeout. If you say things once or twice, like, I'm going to try to let it fly. But I don't want the live chat today to just be Israel, Palestine. A lot of people want to come here to hang out with our community and escape that, just have a good hour or two not thinking about this. So let's just try to, have fun as a community together and take a break from how heavy the world is. How about that?
That's good.
So
we got a super chat.
GJ gave us a super chat, a big super chat. Thank you for the 22 euro super chat, GJ. And it's saying, let me give you and Atheist Republic a super chat to celebrate my fellow Dutchman, Max Verstappen, becoming auto racing champion of the world in Formula One last week for the third time in a row, fifth in history to achieve this. Well, shouts out to, your fellow Dutchman and anyone else who watches F1. Okay. Yeah. And Music Lover did use his celebration of 1 month membership to support Israel. Like I said, I would like to make the live chat not Israel Palestine this week, but you are a member. So thank you for being a member.
Yeah. But I agree with the Music Lover though. So Israel is a nation state and we should support its right to exist. Okay. So can we? Oh, we can't. Never mind. We can't clap for the first news.
This is probably our worst news this week. And then besides this, it's just going to be, let's talk about atheists from around the world. Okay?
Okay. All right. So, guys, just bear with us.
Oh, but I am going to get heated about this. So if you like to see that kind of thing, stay tuned. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Oof. Okay. First news. 14-year-old Texas teen choked by mother for not wearing hijab in social media post. In Kingwood, Texas, a disturbing incident highlighting the grave implications of honor violence came to light when a Muslim woman, Sitar Mazhar Khan, was arrested for allegedly assaulting her teenage daughter. Honor violence, deeply rooted in various cultural and religious communities with conservative traditions, is driven by the motive to safeguard or reclaim perceived honor. Such acts often revolve around victims' behaviors that are deemed to breach cultural or religious norms. In this case, Khan reportedly assaulted her 14-year-old daughter after seeing her without a hijab on Instagram, an act she might have perceived as dishonorable. Okay, guys, and I just want to say that in a second, there's going to be a pretty bad description of childhood abuse. So if this is triggering for you, just want to give you a heads up. The hearing officer stated the defendant, upset that the complainant did not wear her hijab at school, beat and choked the complainant, causing her to lose consciousness. Additionally, Khan is accused of burning her daughter for overcooking pita bread. This tragic incident serves as a reminder of the continuous presence and dangers of honor violence, even in Western nations, with victims often targeted for actions that are deemed to violate deeply held cultural or religious norms. Oh my God. So I really wanted to talk about this news. I think it is very important to talk about stories like this because a lot of people don't know and they don't understand that honor violence happens in the United States. And before we dig into this, I want to make a few things clear. Okay, she has not been found guilty. These are charges brought against her in a court of law. So at this moment, everything we describe is alleged. And I just want to, that's how the system of law works here. These are allegations against her. And I also want to make something else clear. When the police reported on this, when American media reported on this, they did not frame this as honor violence. I would like to make it clear that it is my assertion and belief that if these allegations are true, they likely happened from the basis of, lack of honor, a desire to get back honor. So I just want to, I want to be clear about what is our angle and then how other people are reporting it, right? I think that's responsible. And it makes me so upset as an American to know that there are children that are citizens in my country that are exposed to this level of harmful tradition. I'm very happy to see that the authorities are taking this seriously. I don't know if they're framing this in their own internal investigations through the lens of honor violence. I hope that they are. And I'm also very frustrated to see that in a few different places where this was reported on, they don't highlight the fact that she was choked unconscious for not wearing hijab. Like there were several news sources that would bury that in the article. And I think, again, I speculate that this is an effort to not demonize a certain community. I would say that if we are not honest about the behaviors, the harmful traditions that occur in certain communities, and if we don't call it out, then they're not going to end. And if that's true, then we're failing to safeguard children and vulnerable citizens. And I want to read this comment by Zaid. He said, if it's about hijab, of course it's about honor. Most Muslims don't care what Allah thinks. They care about what other Muslims think of them. Oh, collectivist cultures do be like that. But Armin, I remember when I first found out about this news, I came to you like that same day and I was talking about it. And what's your reaction to this?
Well, I mean, this constantly keeps happening. It's not by accident that I think this is obviously honor based, right? Like if you don't want to categorize this honor based, like hijab is honor culture, is modesty culture and honor culture. So any parental violence towards their children over not wearing hijab is honor violence, right? And I think, correlation is not always causation, but correlation really hints at causation, especially if you could identify the cause, like if you could explain the cause, or if you could show the correlation and also you have a good theory that has explanatory power and doesn't contradict other data that you have, then in that case, your correlation does very much suggest causation. And the correlation is that this constantly happens more. And I'm not saying it just based on stories that we cover, based on statistics, right? Based on scientifically collected data, there is a very, very high correlation between these types of violence and abuse and Islamic communities. So in this case, Islam is the cause, for sure.
I think when I first found out about this news, anyone that follows me on Instagram, by the way, link is in the description, probably saw me post about this on my stories, because I was saying, like, yes, honor violence does happen in America. There's not a lot of awareness about this. And a lot of times when instances like this happen, a lot of PC progressive types kind of want to pull the wool over their eyes and like act like what they're seeing isn't exactly what they're seeing. And so I posted this on I had so many thoughts about this, and I wrote this and I posted this on my stories. And I think it really just summarizes the way I think about it. I said, vulnerable people will always be abused wherever harmful traditions follow. We must never abandon our duty of care and protection to the vulnerable in the name of cultural sensitivities or, quote, hurt religious sentiments. When we, the so-called Westerners, free societies, whatever you want to call it, etc., do so, we are tacitly allowing the deadly abuse of others simply because they have ancestry from a different part of the world. Treatment that we would utterly reject if perpetrated on children that looked like us, spoke our language, shared our culture. That's racist. These behaviors, informed by harmful tradition, need to be full-throatedly and unapologetically called out as backwards, and we must demand that they are abandoned. Harmful traditions are only changed and left behind because they are forced to by the presence of and competition with better ideas. And I really wanted to say that because I think a lot of people that aren't involved in the issues that our community obviously cares about, like if you're a part of our community, you're involved in these issues, you're cared about these issues, you already know, right? But a lot of people don't know. And the problem is if there are good-hearted people that in the name of not wanting to be xenophobic or wanting to be a misconstrued idea of multicultural, or if they don't want to be what they perceive to be racist or bigoted, they will try to excuse this or be like, oh, well, it's not because of this culture, and it's not because or it's it's part of their culture, or then it's not part of religion, and they basically make excuses for it and they make exceptions for it because these people come from a different part of the world than the dominant society. And if people do that, then they are not going to be part of the tide swell that is going to force change. And so the only way to create change that is going to over time ensure the safeguarding of children, we cannot make excuses. We cannot try to navigate this middle ground. Like, you have to just be fully like, no, this is unacceptable. No ifs, ands, or buts. How do you make child abuse acceptable? Or, oh, that's part of their culture. That's how they are, blah, blah, blah. And this is supposed to be the well-meaning people. That's so racist. I really wanted to highlight this story because I want people to know that this does happen in the quote unquote Western world, that there are no excuses for it. And my thoughts about how, as a society, if you live like in my society or whatever, how we need to combat this. Yeah, those are my thoughts. I'm not going to let some girl be abused because she didn't wear hijab in a social media post. Oh, because that's where they come from. Blah blah blah. No. She's a citizen in my country. She has rights, and I hope that the Texas authorities are ensuring that she's not being exposed to further violence. Because sometimes, when CPS gets involved, and depending on who the child is placed with, the fact that the authorities are now involved can put them back in danger. Each situation is different, but I think she's in the care of Child Protective Services right now. So that was, Lucifer Christ is saying, really shocked these things happen in the United States. Thought things like this only happen in my country. Well, yeah, like I said, vulnerable people are abused wherever harmful traditions follow. And people bring harmful traditions from all over the world.
Right. So I want to respond to some comments. First of all, Newman had to go because this was triggering him because of the experience he himself had before. And I just wanted to highlight this so for people to know how real these experiences are. People have, how common they are. Pakistan Defense Force is saying when brown parents abuse their kids, it's because of religion. When white parents do it, it's just bad people. It's very interesting that he's saying this on our show. This is a criticism. He's like, why are you blaming Islam, basically? Like, this is
how many white people abuse their kids because of religion? It's a lot.
Yeah. Let me make my point, please. It's weird that he's saying this on our show, given that we have covered Christian parents beating their children for Christianity, and we have white Christian parents for years, and we have identified that being because of religion as well, and especially when we have covered news where people were not, politicians were trying to stop laws being passed against beating children, where they cited the Bible, came and cited a Bible verse as an excuse. We covered that. So
that was in the Oklahoma State Senate. People were saying, can we remove this part of the statute that allows you to use corporal punishment against disabled children? Let me be clear, guys. It was not even all children. It was, let's stop beating the disabled ones. And they were like, no, because the Bible tells me so. What?
Right. Like it's so stupid. Like, Pakistan Defense Force comes here with the worst takes on a show that we have consistent. Again, we haven't been hypocritical like this. We have been calling out. I don't know why why do you don't notice how we try to be as consistent as possible, and I don't know why it's not being noticed by people like you. I don't understand. Also, Sheikha with the bad take here. Sheikha is saying, what I feel is that a lot of us here are more interested in Islam bashing than protecting the child from violence. I mean, why are you saying that here? When we are identifying Islam as a problem, is because you have to go to the source. If you want to protect the children, then you have to identify the cause instead of just, how do you protect how do you protect more children from being harmed like this? You have to understand what are the factors that is making this possible. What are the elements that needs to be fought against? It is because of religion. She's saying my first empathy is the girl and then some cultural backwardness. Well, if your empathy is with the girl, then you have to identify Islam as a problem if you genuinely care about the victims. So there's that. And we got do you want to read the super chat?
We got a super sticker. Thank you from SSSPPP. And then we also got a super chat from Gasian American. Thank you, Gasian, saying, is there a verse or hadith similar to the spare the rod, spoil the child? Which is a verse in the Bible.
Well, we have a wife beating verse in the Quran, chapter 4, Surah Nisa, verse 34, right? If you want me, I've showed this verse so many times, where Allah commands you to beat your wife, It doesn't even
That's
say that
different
it's
than
allowed.
I mean, it's not directly related to the
Well,
children.
he said similar. He didn't say exact.
Oh, okay.
So I was just telling you there's wife beating. Yeah. Yeah. So there's that.
When there's
But
also
for
the edicts. I think what I don't like
oh,
about
hadith, you're
Abrahamic,
talking hadith.
what I don't like about
He's also
Abrahamic faiths is that they really promote this idea of the parents owning the children. Like you see this in the Bible, you see this in Islam. It's like very clear that the parents own the children. And I think that's a very, very dangerous mentality because it excuses and tacitly allows for a lot of abuse. And guys, please like this stream because YouTube hates the A word, okay? And we've said it a lot. And this is important to cover, and we're not going to not talk about important things because of the algorithm gods, okay? So help us fight not only the theistic gods, but also the algorithm gods, and like this stream.
All right, so Zaid is saying there is a hadith that goes something like hang the whip where your household fan sees it. So I don't know about this hadith, but Zaid is confirming that there is a hadith that is kind of promotes child abuse. And also, by the way, I just want to show how bad Pakistani Defense Forces takes are. So it's saying, Armin and Susanna, my mom beat me and I never thought it was abuse. It's called discipline. So see, Pakistan Defense Force is actually promoting child abuse. You see how, by the way, Pakistan Defense Force is not even a Muslim, but you say how Islam has rotted his mind. This is, he still thinks Islamically.
I don't even think this is an Islamic thing. I think this is, and I want to actually be compassionate here. A lot of people that have experienced assaults and abuse by their parents rationalize it to help make their experience manageable psychologically.
Yes.
You're like, well, my parents beat me and I'm fine. Look at how I am. And you like look at them and you're like, but you're not fine though.
Yeah,
and
but the parents beating him.
I actually want to be really compassionate because I'm sorry that you suffered assaults at the hands of your parents.
Yeah. But if you do continue to promote child abuse in the live chat, I will ban you. Just a warning for you.
Oh, right? 100%.
Yeah. I know. I'm sorry that your mom abused you as a child, and your mom is horrible for doing that to you, and I'm sad for you that happened to you. But if you do continue to promote that, I will ban you. What was I saying? Oh yeah, but I still think
if they beat you hard, then it's abuse. If it's a light beating, then it's not.
No, it's still abuse.
Yeah, so I think that's worthy of a ban.
Yeah. Also, what was I saying? It's still Islam. What you said is correct. It doesn't contradict what I said because the mother, this is in Pakistan. The mother was beating him. Like look at where it started, and then eventually it led to what we're talking about here. Also, we got another super chat.
Oh, thank you.
We got two super chats.
Reincarnation Entertainment gave us £5. Thank you. This is so sweet. He said, please consider donating, guys. These two are the best atheists. Well, thank you. It's not a competition, but I will take it today, okay? And actually, guys, this is a good reminder that Atheist Republic, is working towards financial security. So if you want to make sure that this show and this program can continue in the way that you love, consider becoming a monthly donor on PayPal. That's the best way to support us right now. And link to become a monthly donor is right in the description. And that would help us so much. And we got another super chat. Wow, thanks for letting them come in, guys. Seed of Iblis is saying, use this donation to buy Armin his own Mr. Bean mug to match Susie's. Oh, we like my Rowan Atkinson mug. It says Babe Magnet. Hell yeah.
Listen.
Thank you.
Oh, we got another super chat from Asian American. Did you see this one? Did you highlight this one?
Yeah, wait. I didn't see this one. Asian American is saying, Chinese people own our kids too. Crying emoji, sweat smile emoji. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, let's remember
So,
that
by the way,
parents do not own their children. They are not masters over their children. They are their guardians, but children have their own
yes,
separate rights. They have
right, right.
rights. Well, maybe not in all countries, but they should. International covenants say that they should have rights.
Yeah, let me just make something clear. So some people might think that showing that other non-Islamic cultures, like Christian culture, Chinese culture, that they also beat the children because of their backwardsness, because of their conservatism, because of them not progressing. This proves my point that Islam is responsible. It doesn't. Okay, these are all affecting Islam, Christianity, traditionalism in China. These are all slowing progress, right? So if it's traditionalism and conservatism in China, it's Islam in Pakistan. Whatever is standing in the way from a society progressing to higher standards, that in that society, that is what's causing these things to happen more often. In Pakistan, in Iran, in Bangladesh, that would be Islam. So this does not contradict what I'm saying.
Yeah, harmful
Okay.
tradition takes many forms and many names.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, can we go to the next news?
Yeah, and I'm glad Newman is back. So we're about to talk about India. So now, guys, we can move into the fun stuff where we just kind of talk about atheists around the world. Okay.
Nice. All right, so we can clap for this. Guys, we remember people keep thinking that when we cover India, we always have bad news. Okay. Oh, is this good news? Can we say this is good news about India?
Well, well, I can frame it in many different ways. I think the good news is that Indian atheists are given a huge platform and profile in the Associated Press. And there's other fun things in this article.
I'm just going to clap. Next news.
Next news, India's non-religious paradox. In a country with a millennia-old history of non-religious movements, most atheists and rationalists in India find it safer to remain silent about their skepticism, despite the nation's deep-rooted tradition of questioning and skepticism. Avinash Patel, a religious skeptic and leader of an anti-superstition group, comments on the shrinking space for debating religious authority and belief, attributing this to rising religious tensions and growing Hindu nationalism. While there is a global rise in the number of non-believers or nuns in India's non-religious, despite their historical significance, face challenges and risks in being vocal about their beliefs, especially amidst the recent surge of Hindu nationalism. Patil says, quote, "When you are open about it and engage in activism, it can get challenging and even dangerous." This sentiment captures the atmosphere as many quote unquote nuns still seek justice for the murder of rationalist Narendra Dabulkar a decade ago. So, one, let us celebrate the fact that Indian atheists got this huge profile in the Associated Press. I thought this was really cool. And this article dives into a lot of different stuff going on for Indian atheists. It has a significant portion of it highlighting kind of Indian rationalists that fight against superstition. And this is one of my favorite things about the rationalist movement in India are their efforts to really combat skepticism. Superstition, because it reminds me of the work of James Randi. And obviously, like the amazing Randi, his work against superstition and kind of supernaturalism is just so iconic. And so it's really cool for me to see kind of that work being carried on in a very different social context, right? And they also talk about how in this article, a lot of the kind of legal challenges that atheists face in India, mainly when it comes to getting your paperwork done. So there isn't really, the country doesn't officially recognize atheism or the non-religious. So if you're filling out your paperwork on like birth certificates or school admissions paperwork, there's delays in documents if you don't state your religion. So there are a lot of people that just fill out their religion in the checkbox for whatever background they came from, right? But there are organizations that are pushing for the government to actually allow just simple checkbox that says no religion. And then it went on to highlight how the non-religious movement has major influences on the anti-caste movement in India, and it has major influences both historically and in present in social justice causes for the standing of women, for the standing of tribals, etc. And then they kind of just went on to talk about kind of the day-to-day life of a lot of different atheists and some of the historical tradition of materialist belief in India. And then also it highlighted the story of, like I said, Narendra Dabholkar, who was an anti-superstition activist who was assassinated, and their efforts to get justice for him. And I don't know, I loved it. If you scroll through the article, there's actually a lot of really amazing photos in here. Liam is saying, love the Atheist Republic channel. Thank you, Liam. But yeah, Armin, what do you think about kind of the rise of non-religion in India?
Wait, so this is the guy, right? So I just want people to know what we're saying. Yeah. So here are people. Look at the passion here. Look at the passion. Oh my God. What is this picture saying?
Oh, this is just like in a Ganesh festival.
This is, I think anything that happens in India is like 10 times everywhere else. And it doesn't get as much attention as it should. So I'm so happy the Associated Press is covering this. What does it say on these signs? Do you know?
Oh, this is a rally for Narendra, who was assassinated. The guy in the middle is like the new leader of the anti-superstition group, and so they're having a march for him.
Oh, so what can you tell us a little bit about him and why he was killed?
Basically, I don't know too much about his background. I remember this was in Maharashtra, I believe. And so some time ago, I was reading about anti-superstition movements in Maharashtra, and I'm not 100% certain that the person I'm remembering is the same man. I think it is, though. And basically, he was just very strong in going after godmen who were abusive, and also documenting ways in which the tricks that godmen or religious figures will play on people, because they have all these kind of like little, essentially, for lack of a better term, they're like magic tricks, right? Little things that they can do that just look so crazy, and it looks like magic is happening in front of your face. So you're like, oh my gosh, this man must have some sort of authority or spiritual awareness or knowledge of something beyond me, because look, he can do this trick that I can't explain or can't describe. And so he would basically do these almost like science experiments to show how explain these like magic tricks that they do, and explain these little things that they can do that trick you into thinking that they have special powers, and explain them and be like, look, this person doesn't have supernatural powers. This is all completely explainable. This is all materialistic. And when you're showing how the magician does his tricks, that's obviously going to upset a lot of people that get their source of power and strength and income off of that. And so,
right.
And that can also be seen as deeply challenging of Hindu dominant norms, right? And not even norms, but maybe popular superstition. And yeah, that put a target on his back. He had enemies because of that.
Yeah, I think people don't understand how important atheist activists are. Secular, anti-superstition, and atheist activists are, and it's a thankless form of activism, and India needs it badly. So, if you're an atheist or a secular activist or a liberal activist in India, just try to have. I hope you're having each other's backs, because you guys need each other, and your country needs you. India is going to become. It is already, but it's going to become more and more of an economic superpower, right? So anything that slows down or just hinders that even by a little bit is affecting millions and millions of people more than any other country, right? So if you are an atheist activist in India, the contribution you're doing to the world is more than most people, right? Because the main thing that is standing between India and its progress, like India will progress no matter what, but that could be fast or it could be very fast, you, you because a lot of people think just because India is progressing, that means that it's doing everything it could do. It's meeting its maximum potential. But you could progress and still fall short of what you could have, the speed at what you could have progressed. Like there are a lot of missed opportunities, and you can see based on the politics of India, there's a lot of missed opportunities because of the government and the people being very religious, right? And how much religion, superstition, and conservatism is slowing down the progress of India in many different ways. So just know that every atheist activist or anything that is fighting superstition in India, you're doing a service to the future of India that is going to affect millions and millions of people. Even a tiny amount of contribution as an activist in India, as big as India is, there's going to be way more people in the future that are people exist today, or that ever have been in the history of mankind. There's way more in our future than it has been in our past, right? So even you being an activist and just moving that needle just by a little bit, just a tiny bit, there are millions and millions of people in the future that should be grateful to you, right? So don't think like I'm a small activist, I don't have that much of an influence. You're making the lives of millions of people better just by that. So I just want to thank people who are in the front lines of fighting religion, especially in a country as big as India. So salute to you guys. Yeah.
Salute. And D is saying, shout out to YouTube channels. Science is dope and rationable. Yes, guys, go if you want to go support Indian atheists that are doing the hard work, that are actually doing the work of promoting this and bringing it to their communities, go check out these channels. Thank you, D, for remembering that, because I do always love to highlight the work of Indians who are challenging these norms, right? Diving into the taboo. It's not easy, guys. Asian American gave us a super chat saying thoughts, spelled THOTS, on Dr. Ambedkar's call for separate electorates for backwards castes. So my understanding is, and I will, for people who don't know, I'll read it very briefly. So during one period of time in his thoughts and activism, this is something he called for, and he said that separate electorates meant that only members of the Dalit community would vote for their representatives separate from the general electorate. He believed that this would give Dalits a voice in the political system and safeguard their interests. Now, my understanding is that his thoughts evolved past this, and he exchanged this formulation in favor of basically assimilation and bringing the Dalits upwards to assimilate into the broader society. So I could be wrong. I'm no historian, but my understanding is that his thoughts evolved past this.
Yeah. The key thing is his intentions when he was looking for a different solution was to give the Dalits and other lower, what other people consider to be lower castes, as giving them a louder voice. So that was what he was trying to do, right? Yeah, Dr. Ambedkar was such a blessing to India. I hope more people.
Guys, that's a reminder. If you have diabetes, take care of your diabetes. We could have had this legend for much longer.
Right. See, my obsession with health is now justified based on that. What you just said.
Yeah. And for those who are not familiar, like backward caste is actually what it's called in the system. Like that's not a pejorative word.
I would say a lot of India's progress right now, a lot of it, a big portion of it is because of Dr. Ambedkar. Is that an exaggeration, do you think?
That a lot of what is because of him?
A lot of India's progress is because India had Dr. Ambedkar.
I mean, I'm very biased, so I want to say yeah.
Yeah. So
he is someone I admire so much.
Yeah, but so here's the thing: a lot of people think that we are anti-India because we're anti-Hinduism. Okay, but the main guy, one of the founding fathers of India, the guy that was involved in the writing the constitution, right, and the guy that is responsible for so much of what is great about India, was in agreement with us, and he was anti-Hinduism. He was anti-Hinduism and anti-Islam at the same time. So
yeah. Don't let anyone ever convince you that you are any less Indian or any less of like a contributing citizen within the nation because you are not religious. That's absurd. Some of the greatest social leaders in India were not only not religious, they were explicitly anti-Hinduism. So,
So Ayan is saying I'm correct. Yes, Armin, you are right. He played a huge role. So people from India are agreeing with me. Eric is saying yes, Dr. Ambedkar created a semblance of modern state in what would have been a feudal hellhole. Okay, see, I think I'm not exaggerating. Right? So it's patriotic for an Indian to be anti-Hinduism. Okay, I would say, right? It's patriotic for an Israeli citizen to be anti-Judaism, and it's patriotic for an Indian citizen to be anti-Hinduism. Right? It serves your country to fight against Hinduism. Yeah. Okay. So can we? Oh, do you want to add anything, or should we clap?
No, this is fun. This next one is fun.
Okay. Next news.
Satanic temple holds devilish concert inside Indiana's state capitol building. Amidst the grandeur of Indiana's state capitol, Lucien Graves and his band Satanic Planet delivered a head-turning performance drawing in a mixed crowd from Satanists to state employees. This concert was not just a musical act, but a pointed protest against an earlier quote-unquote let us worship event spearheaded by Christian nationalist Sean Fuchs. Fuchs, I'm not sure how to pronounce this last name. Fuchs' religious gathering, which even saw Lieutenant Governor Suzanne Crouch being prayed over, has been perceived by many as blurring the church-state boundary. In retort, Greaves took to the stage with songs like Unbaptism and an Unbaptism Ritual, emphasizing that if the doors were open for one religious perspective, they should be open for all. As he passionately declared, quote, when Suzanne Crouch opened the doors for Fuchs, she opened the doors for Satanic Planet. Indiana's capital had certainly witnessed a day of unparalleled fervor and religious discourse. So, yeah, Zayd is saying, Hail Satan. Yeah, this is awesome. Armin, bring up the photos. I love this. This is freaking badass. This is a Christian nationalist's worst nightmare. Like, look at all these goth-ass people with, like, the black and white American flag. The black wings, the black robes, like this is about to be a sacrifice. Like it's just so good.
This is great.
Yeah, it's very simple, guys. If you're going to have an event in your state capital where the upcoming candidate for governor is being prayed over in a public building, this is what comes with it. Freaking hail Satan. So yeah, the Satanic Planet had a concert inside the Indiana State Capitol building. It was free. You just got to come, hang out, watch a show. There were some Christian nationalists, or not even, maybe they weren't not necessarily Christian nationalists, but in reports that I read, there were some Christians that showed up and were like trying to pray in the corner. There was one guy that made like a small disturbance, and I think maybe he was removed. But yeah, shouts out and nothing but love and congratulations to, you know, the Satanic Temple for, you know, bringing Satan to Indiana at the highest level. You love to see it. And what I love is in the Satanic Temple's website where they talked about this news, they said that at the end they played their song on baptism, and then they had an unbaptism ritual, which is basically to remove the baptism from people who were non-consensually baptized as infants. And according to the website, a substantial line soon emerged in front of the stage.
So Lucifer Christ is asking, what's the name of the band again?
The Satanic Planet.
The Satanic Planet. Okay. And how do you respond to Christopher here?
Christopher is saying, yes, I get the sentiment, but this will encourage those who need no encouragement even more. I'm not sure 100% what you mean by this. Like, are you saying that because Christian nationalists did this and then the Satanic Temple responded, so then are you saying, is this not going to have the Christian nationalists respond again? Well, maybe they actually have the freedom to do that. Just as much as the Satanic Temple has the freedom to do this.
No, I think what you don't understand is that this turns Christian nationalists into secularists, because when they open the door to religion into, you know, the government and schools, they always think religion means Christianity. But as soon as they see Satanism come in as well, they're like, okay, now we see the point. Now we're immediately in favor of not having religion in government. So I mean, that's the whole point of the Satanic Temple, to make Christians understand the value of secularism, right?
Mm-hmm.
And turn some of the most adamant Christians about activists that I've seen them turn 180 on this. Like they become secular activists. They want to immediately get religion out of school and they become some of the most Christian people in the United States. I've seen them turn on this and become as secular as we are. Like, yeah, we need to keep religion out of everywhere. Like, this is like, they're coming for our kids. They're coming for a government.
The Satanic Temple is the perfect vector to do this, because it actually is non-theistic. Versus if you try to do this with Islam, you would still get the same reactions from Christians probably, but we don't actually want Islam in schools, for example. Yeah. So Zayd is saying this proves that you so-called atheists are, bring that comment back. Where did it go?
Oh, which one?
Oh my
Zayd?
God.
Oh yeah. Here.
That was so good. Yeah, this proves you so-called atheists know the Church of Christ deep inside you, and you're following the corruption of Satan. Hell yeah.
That's good.
And oh my gosh, we got some amazing super chats. I think we got another one from another super sticker from SSS. Thank you. Chris gave us a $20 super chat. Thank you so much, Chris. Saying, is it still quote unquote consensual if the baptized person was a minor? It depends on how much of a minor they are. You know, if you're an infant, obviously you can't consent. There are, you know, once you get older, I think there are conditions in which you could legitimately consent. But then again, there are so many instances, because there are other Christian sects where you don't get baptized until you're actually much older, because the whole idea being is that they understand that you can't actually choose this if you're an infant, and so they want you to choose it when you're older. But then the problem is, of course, within a religious community, there can be a high degree of coercion to make children quote unquote consent to becoming baptized. So it's a tricky question. Blessed be he is saying, is Susanna a Christian? No, I am an ex-Catholic, which reminds me because D was saying that she wants to get unbaptized. Yeah, I want to be unbaptized. And that actually reminded me that I need to, if I go back to the church where I was actually baptized, I can fill out some I can fill out some paperwork and like fight them to make me officially no longer a member of the Catholic Church. It takes a little bit of work, but I think I should do it. Don't include me in your statistics.
We should celebrate that.
How can I get uncircumcised? Yeah, I don't think we have reconstructive surgery for that kind of thing. I'm sorry, my friend. This is a friendly reminder to everyone that circumcising your baby boys is genital mutilation. Don't do it. It's bad.
Right.
Can I read one final quote from the Satanic Temple about this event? Because I thought it just summed it up perfectly. Okay. So here's a quote from Lucian Greaves about the event. When Suzanne Crouch opened the doors for Fuchs, she opened the doors for the Satanic Planet. And whether you are here as a Satanist or in opposition to us, you should be proud that we still live in a nation where we can practice our own religious beliefs as we see fit, where the government isn't imbued with the authority to dictate our beliefs to us. A nation where these public grounds are equally available to us all. I'm like, hell yeah, that's like the most American thing I've heard today. Hail Satan.
Hail Satan. All right. Yeah, guys, put a Hail Satan in the live chat. It helps the channel when you comment.
Hail Satan, hail yourself.
Yeah, that's good. All right. Should we read that other comment or no? Because I thought it was funny. No?
No, let's move on to the next news.
All right, okay. Okay, can we clap for the next news?
Yeah, we can clap. We're just gonna kind of discuss a controversial issue.
Okay. I'm gonna put myself down. I'll be right back. Okay. So just give me a second. Next news. One second. Oh, there.
Next news: the caste bill that split California's Hindu community. On October 7th, 2023, California's Governor Gavin Newsom vetoed a bill that sought to explicitly outlaw caste-based discrimination, a topic that gained traction following events like CasteCon and the legal case surrounding Cisco Systems in California. If passed, California would have been the pioneer U.S. state to enact such legislation, especially considering institutions like Brandeis University and the California State University system have already incorporated caste into their anti-discrimination policies. The bill's intent was to protect individuals, especially Dalits, from bias in housing, education, and the tech sector. Newsom defended his decision, referencing existing provisions in California's laws that cover discrimination on grounds such as sex, race, religion, and more, deeming the bill, quote-unquote, unnecessary. The debate over caste discrimination and its implications, including concerns about inadvertently reinforcing caste distinctions or further stigmatizing the U.S. Hindu community, has deeply divided the Indian American community. Events like CasteCon and representatives from Hindu organizations express apprehensions about potential biases against Hindus and people of Indian descent due to such legislation. So this is going to be controversial amongst our audience. This is going to be controversial amongst our audience. So, Armin, we have previously talked about how there were these this proposed legislation in California. We talked about how it was proposed and its status as it moved through the House, and also the high degree of threats that the state assembly. Is she a senator or a state assembly member? I don't know. Aisha Wahab is the legislator who introduced this legislation, and she received an insane amount of threats for doing so. So we've talked about all this, and so the conclusion is that it actually passed through the state assembly, and then when it reached the governor's desk, the governor refused to sign it, and he vetoed it. And I thought this was worth discussing. And I don't know. Do you have any initial reactions to this? Because I have some thoughts.
So wait, has this been? So this is going into what is the? Is this going to get passed? Do you
No,
think?
it's dead.
Like, is this going to be?
It's dead.
It's dead. Okay. Because that
It
was
passed
away.
the state assembly, which means that it passed through all the bodies of government that, like, they all, well, not all bodies, but the relevant bodies approved it. And then when it was time for the governor to sign it into law, he vetoed it.
So he says because discrimination based on caste is already prohibited under these existing categories, this bill is unnecessary. I mean, isn't the point of a bill like that to put higher attention and emphasis on the discrimination, not even if it is already covered by another law? Isn't that the whole point? Like, that's not enough reason to. What do you think?
Well, my understanding, and I don't even know if this is what the activists fighting for this would say, but again, this is me, is that it's like to actually make sure that people know that this is covered, right? In a legal setting. And I have to be completely honest. As I've learned more about this, my opinion has started to change. And this is partially because, especially with the case of two of the Cisco employees that have been accused of caste discrimination, that case against Cisco was dropped due to lack of evidence. And part of what I think is a very legitimate concern of the plaintiff, or excuse me, the defendant in that case, one of the defendants who was accused of caste discrimination took great issue with the fact that in the case levied against him by the CRD, which is the relevant body, I can't remember what it stands for in California, that he was repeatedly described in the lawsuit as being a Hindu or an upper caste Hindu. And he's like, I'm not actually a Hindu. Like, I'm non-religious. Why are you asserting that I'm a Hindu? And I actually think that, and that doesn't mean that you're, just because you're non-religious, that you cannot perpetuate caste discrimination. Of course you can. But I do think it is concerning with that case in particular that the state is asserting the religious beliefs of one of its citizens. When they're asserting, like, this is not even what I believe. If someone did that to me, I'd be like, how dare you assert what my religious belief is? That's simply not true. And so with that particular case, I think that is concerning. And then when it comes to this legislation in general, I was reading a lot of articles about this on Religion News Network. And what I thought was really interesting was they had a whole article about how there was this Caste Con. And you would think that the Caste Con, which happened in Fremont, California, and NorCal fairly recently, it's Caste Con. Oh, it sounds like a bunch of people who are there to oppose caste discrimination. Caste Con was actually about people coming to have a conference about opposing anti-caste discrimination policies, and several of the organizations that were involved in this Caste Con were actually Ambedkarite organizations. And seeing some of the prominent activists against this legislations be Bahujan, be Dalit, or not even Dalit, or like part of prominent Ambedkarite organizations, and they were voicing major concerns over this organization, I was like, that really caught my attention. And also the fact that there's been, well, actually, I'm not going to get into Equality Labs. Equality Labs is always cited for Dalit-based discrimination, and I think there are major flaws within their methodology. of gathering information. So what do you make of my thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think it seems like it's not as simple as people make it sound to be. Like, I think, like, look at this. Blue Rain is saying no true Ambedkarite organization would oppose anti-discrimination bill. I mean, no, that's not true. If it's done poorly, if it's not helping, like this, I think this is a very simplistic view. I think, like, obviously Susanna cares about being anti-discrimination.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, obviously, like, it seems like she's done her research. Even if you disagree with her, you could still disagree with the way something is being executed over its details. Like, you could be against, for example, racism, or being anti, I don't know, you could be pro-peace and look at a form of a legislation that is trying to promote peace, and you think that it's being done poorly, or it's not being, it's going to do more harm than good, and be against it, even though you are still for peace. Like, I don't understand why people think that just because something has a label on it that claims to be able to do good, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to do good. Like, that's a very simplistic analysis. And I think, like, even if you're wrong, Susie, I think that you did your best to go and look at the details, and the fact that you have changed your opinions about this, it shows that you're trying to be honest and transparent about how you're thinking about this. So I think, like,
I haven't even come to a conclusion. I haven't even come to a solid opinion. I'm just saying that I've learned more, and now I have more questions. It really is that simple. I'm not making any prescriptions or dictates at this time. I'm just like, there are things that I've learned now that have caused me to have more questions. I'm not as certain as I was before, and that's normal.
Right.
And I have no shame in doing that, guys. I'm actually trying to, like, model behavior that I think more people should have. I'm like, you know what? I'm less certain about a position I had before. That's okay. And also, especially certain organizations like Equality Labs are always talking about caste equity. That always raises major red flags for me, because equity is about equality of outcome. And there is no way to ensure equality of outcome that isn't authoritarian. But that's just me and my personal principles and convictions, that word raises red flags for me. But that's just me.
No, I think it's very good. That's very good. That we're not being certain about something. It's a good sign usually.
And you know what I thought was really interesting, this is my last thought about these many articles I read about this, is that both sides, no matter what side you're on in this issue, are talking about how this is an unprecedented level of what's the word I'm looking for? Like, political energy from the Indian American or Hindu American community. And I thought that was really interesting. Basically, this is a tide shift in the way that they organize, and in a way I thought it was really cool to see. It's like, because this is what my country is about. They want to get active, they want to get activated about something, and we've seen them get organized in a way that they previously have never organized before. And both sides, no matter if they were successful or not, saw that as a win. So I thought that was cool. So there were a few Topher is saying Susanna is a true agnostic in the best and most complete sense of the term. Well, thank you. I try to be. I'm not always, but when I catch myself feeling extra certain about something, that's actually a red flag for me. When I feel myself being, like, so certain and brittle in my opinion, to me, I actually stop and I'm like, you need to take a step back.
That's true. That's true.
Other people see that and it's like, I know I'm right. I see that as a warning.
No, but that, guys, that's true. Like, even behind the scene, when we're not doing a show, sometimes Susanna comes and she's very, very certain about something, and then later on she comes back and she wonders about, she, even in our private talk, I completely see that. That's pretty true. That's a pretty accurate description.
I try.
Yeah. All right,
we got a comment, Iona, saying, why is it controversial among Atheist Republic audience? Well, because we have a significant amount of our audience that is Indian or Indian ancestry, and this is a very heated discussion. This is a very heated discussion on both sides of the issue. And I mean, we have people, you know, that are going to think that I'm now like anti-dollar or something, or for caste hierarchy, because I'm like, I'm not sure about this. And then there are going to be people who are like, you want to destroy Hindu Americans, you bigot. There's no way to win when it comes to talking about this. So I'm like, you're taking a risk. But people who, you know, are members of our audience and know us know that we, you know, are really trying to engage in these things in good faith, to the best of our ability. Gasian American gave us a $5 super chat. Thank you, Gasian. Saying, are there any Dalit CEOs? The CEO of Google and Adobe are Brahmins. Kamala Harris and Vivek Ramaswamy are Tamil Brahmins.
That's a good question.
I don't know if there are any Dalit CEOs. Well, and also, what kind of CEO? Are you just talking about like Fortune 500 companies? Like, what are we talking about? Like CEOs of a nonprofit? Sure. Like, but I don't like the framing in general, no matter the identity group, that just because there is a lack of representation of a certain group in any given field, in any given profession, that by definition means that because there is not that representation there, the answer is racism or discrimination. Because I don't think that's necessarily true. I don't think that's necessarily true. There are a lot of things that have to happen before people even come to the United States. Like, this is more of a systemic question. Like, just because there are not Dalit CEOs in the United States does not mean that that's because of explicit discrimination. It probably is because most Indians that come to the United States are of upper caste background, because in India they have a higher ability to get the education. There's I mean, it's just so it's like that legacy, right? They have a greater ability to come to the United States than other people. So then when there is representation among Indians at a high level, well, there's a larger population of Brahmins. So it's more likely that their representation is going to be Brahmin. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the discrimination is actually happening here in the US versus this is a legacy of who has the ability to come over to begin with. Am I making sense?
Yep. No, that's pretty good. But here's your answer. These are these three Dalit CEOs.
What do we have here? Bhagwan Gawai, which is a Dubai-based company. We have Kalpama Saroj, which is a serial entrepreneur of a Mumbai-based company. And Kavita, mononym, just Kavita, is the CEO of Chambal. Although we don't know what kind of sector this is. Okay, but these are not US-based companies. I think that's what Gasian was getting at. Anyways, yeah, he was saying Fortune 500s.
Yeah, okay.
So my point when I'm explaining this is not to say that Dalits do not face discrimination even getting to this level, but it's like, where is that happening and why?
But it is a good indicator to see. It is a good indicator, though, isn't it? Like, it doesn't prove anything, but it does suggest something. No?
Well, yeah, sure. But I'm like, is this a systemic historical legacy that's giving rise to these results, or is it an active discrimination? I think those are two very different questions, and you can't conflate the two. And a lot of people are very simple-minded in saying, because we do not have representation of XYZ group and XYZ field, that means that they face discrimination. And I'm like, that's not necessarily true. It's like the racism of the gaps argument.
Yeah, because the effects of discrimination is multi-generational. So even if you stop discrimination today, you are going to feel the effects of discrimination from yesterday. Right? So
yeah.
That could be the explanation. All right. So can we it smells like privilege. That's what I'm saying, basically. Can we clap for the next news?
Well, yes, we're just talking about atheists around the world.
Oh wait, I have something else. Wait, then okay, so yeah, I have the wrong news up. Okay, so is it in Nigeria?
Yes.
Okay. Next news.
Next news. Blasphemy, threats, and jail. The hidden lives of Nigeria's atheists. In Kano, northern Nigeria's largest city, non-believers live under the constant threat of persecution. A business owner, once a Muslim and now an atheist, commented, quote, "If I ever come out in northern Nigeria to say I am an atheist, it will be an automatic death sentence." The divide in Nigeria is evident, with its 210 million population nearly evenly split between Christians in the south and Muslims in the north. Atheists in the north have reported heightened threats and attacks since Mubarak Bala, the leader of the Humanist Association of Nigeria, was arrested and subsequently imprisoned for blasphemy. Quote, "Bala's imprisonment rolled our movement underground," said Leo Igwe, a founder of the Humanist Association. While Nigeria's constitution upholds freedom of religion and expression, the reality is bleak. Isa Sanusi, director of Amnesty International in Nigeria, expressed deep concern over the increase in blasphemy-related killings and urged the authorities to uphold their international human rights obligations. So one, again, this is part of the Associated Press's giant, portfolio or project on documenting non-religious people around the world. And I was really excited to see that they highlighted Nigeria specifically, because Armin and I have talked a lot on the show about how Nigeria has the potential to be such a major powerhouse, but the increase in religious fanaticism and killings, not only kidnappings and killings of Christians, which are increasing over the past few years, but also blasphemy lynchings, and as well as just outright persecution of atheists, with Mubarak Bala and his unjust arrest over the past in 2020 being one of the prime examples. And so I was really happy to see atheists in Nigeria being highlighted in this way, because African atheists in general are barely highlighted at all, let alone in a country with as much potential as Nigeria. And then I also really liked this article because it profiled the lives of many different atheists and just kind of what their day-to-day life is like and what they face. And they profiled this one guy, they're all anonymous, and it's about how he goes and does all his usual Muslim rituals like every single day because he has to. And I'm sure a lot of people in our audience can relate to that, being like the risk of appearing non-religious is just too dangerous. And I also really liked this article because it showed it documented several instances of people saying that Mubarak Bala was literally one of the most important influences into why they became a non-believer. And I think because we've been following his case from the beginning of when he was arrested and unjustly detained for 2 years to when he got sentenced to 24 years of imprisonment last year for blasphemy. I don't know, his case is really important to me. And so to see the influence that he has had on his fellow countrymen, I think was really moving to me. Armin, what do you think about the status of atheists in Nigeria?
Again, just like India, just like Bangladesh, just like United States, just like Iran, just like many other countries, so much potential being lost. Nigeria's future is so bright. You have a country with so many young people, with a big population of working population, eager population, many educated people from Nigeria, entrepreneurship, ready to lift not just the economy of Nigeria, but the a major impact on the entire continent, lift Africa to get Nigeria is the biggest country in Africa, is going to be it is already one of the most populated countries in the world, and it's going to continue to increase at a time where a lot of the world needs, young working people. Nigeria has that to offer, with a lot of eager people. And the main thing, the main thing that is standing in that way, and I'm not exaggerating, sometimes I have to go double check, am I saying this because I'm an atheist activist and I'm like a hammer that sees everything, like sees religion like nail everywhere, I think this religion is a problem, and I go and read, and maybe I'm just keep doubting myself, why is it religion so often in the way? And with Nigeria, it's religion that is in the way. The main curse, the main thing that is stopping Nigeria from progressing is religion. And guys, go check. I'm not just saying this because I'm an atheist activist. I ask people, I read people's opinions that are not atheist activists, and they agree this is what is holding Nigeria back, which is such a shame.
Destabilizing.
Again, yes, it is. Yeah, it is. It is. It's horrible.
That chases away investment like nothing else.
Yeah, exactly. And guys, poverty, people think that when we care so much about economic prosperity, we're being heartless because we are we're thinking about money over people's lives. But this is because people don't understand that poverty brings death. Okay, poverty the number one cause, one of the main causes of death is poverty, right? And I could go into detail why that is. More than terrorism, people think cost of religion. They think war. They think terrorism. Okay, religion mostly kills not through terrorism, not through war. Religion kills through poverty more than anything else. As bad as war and terrorism is, that's the main harm of religion. And this is again a reminder to how important atheist activism is around the world. This is one area of activism that is so underrated. More people need to understand and value atheist activism and secular activism, and support your atheist activists in Nigeria, because look at the cost. Look at what they have to do for the countries to progress. Look at the cost. Look at all the risk. And again, these are people in the front line, which again, another salute. As we did that for our Indian atheist activists, also Nigerian atheist. And this is why we need to unite. This is what Atheist Republic is trying to do. Okay, we have atheist activists in all these countries focusing on their country, and we're trying to build a bridge between all these countries together. We can try to maintain a community here. The reason why we do the news here from around the world is not just to inform you, not just to create discussions around these topics, but also to create awareness. We want atheists in India and Indians to know the atheists in Bangladesh, to know the atheists in Nigeria, to know the atheist activists in United States, Iran, in all Arab countries, in Indonesia and Malaysia. We are this is the whole point of Atheist Republic, to create a bridge between all these people, because this is a global fight. So it needs to be fought globally. The threat is global, so the reaction needs to be global as well. And by the way, guys, in order to build a community, me and Susanna are completely stretched thin everywhere because we're doing so many things. We need people to help us make our Discord community more active, right? So again, there's a volunteer link in the description of this video. There are many positions. If you pick the social media volunteer position, the main thing you're gonna be having to do is try to go into our Discord community and try to get the activity up there, because we're trying to create a community there for people that need to talk to other atheists, and also maybe mobilize and come up with projects in our Discord community. So please look at the link, fill in the volunteer form, and join our team.
Also, speaking of, if you like the content we do, make sure that you liked the stream. If you're hanging out here with us, like the stream. It helps us a lot. And if you want to make sure that our work can continue and that this program can continue and that we can continue to provide the community that isolated atheists need around the world, they come here to hang out and find like-minded people. And to continue this, we need your support, okay? The fight for rationalism doesn't happen out of thin air. So the best way to support, I'll say it again, is to become a monthly donor, and the link is right in the description. So, let's move on to the next story. Go ahead.
We have comments and new member, and there is a comment that you
Oh, yes. We have a new member. Daniel became, I'm assuming it's Satan's minion. Welcome to Satan's Minions, Daniel. Thank you for becoming a member. If you're a member, make sure to drop some of our emojis, okay, in the live chat. Demonstrate your new swag. This is such a random comment. You highlighted this. Grey Jedi is saying, I'm mad right now. My kids have committed blasphemy. They have accidentally smashed my Looney Tune mug. How will I have my coffee now? Oh my goodness. I'm sorry for your loss. I loved this comment by Caffeine Lover, who's part of our Persian community. He's saying, Armin, you are calmer in English than on the Persian one. I can imagine that though. You get heated on the Persian side. Like, you told me that people in the Persian community get upset that you're way nicer to Muslims than you are to them. Can you explain yourself, sir?
Well, it's a compliment to you atheists because I think you could take it. That's why. It's actually a compliment. You should see that as a compliment. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, for people that don't understand, Armin acts that way because he wants to make sure that Muslims can understand that they can have a positive interaction with an atheist.
Yeah, yeah. And also they get upset very fast.
You're like, I have to, because otherwise they'll just leave my show.
Yeah.
Okay. We got another super chat from SSS saying, Atheist Republic, keep up the good work. Thank you so much. And Young Atheist is also saying you are doing an incredible work. Thank you, my friend. And the multiculturalist James said, hey there, Armin and Susanna. Thank you for your work. I hope you all are doing well. Thank you. I am. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. All right.
So let's go on.
Yeah. Is it clappable?
Yes, it is.
Is it clappable? All right. Next news.
So now we're going around the world, and now we're going to talk about the explosion of non-religion in America. Okay.
This is the type of explosion that we support here in the show.
Okay, too soon. Organized religion's biggest threat, the explosion of America's nuns. The phenomenon of nuns, individuals who claim no religious affiliation, is rapidly reshaping America's religious landscape. Recent surveys by the Associated Press NORC Center for Public Affairs Research indicate that 30% of U.S. adults identify as non-religious. This group, which has seen a steady increase over the past 3 decades, includes atheists, agnostics, and those who label themselves as nothing in particular. Interestingly, while atheists and agnostics each make up 7% of U.S. adults, nothings in particular constitute roughly 1 in 6, or roughly 17%. Ryan Burge, a political science professor, underscores the significance of this trend by stating the most important story, without a shadow of a doubt, is the unbelievable rise in the share of Americans who are non-religious. Notably, young adults show the highest representation in this category, with nearly 40% of those under 30 identifying as nuns. So this is really, really interesting. I loved this profile, and if you scroll through this article, you can see a lot of really interesting photos that they took. Basically, one of the leading professors or researchers on this issue, Ryan Burge, is actually himself a pastor. And he says, like, this is not just a theoretical thing for me. He's like, I'm seeing the rise of nuns, meaning the lack of people coming into church every single weekend. I see it every single Sunday. He's witnessing people leaving religion in front of him. And one thing that I thought was really interesting is that, you know, atheists are 7%, agnostics are 7%, and then nothing in particular is 16%. So what that means is that most people that are non-religious are actually not self-identified atheists. They're not self-identified agnostics. They're just people that say nothing in particular. And the nothing in particular is actually the fastest growing quote unquote religious affiliation in America. Very interesting. And a major difference between atheists and agnostics and the nothing in particulars is that nothing in particulars are more likely to be somewhat vaguely spiritual. They're more likely to have some sort of spiritual practice. They're more likely to believe in some form of a higher power, but they are opposed to organized religion. And so the similarity amongst all of these groups, meaning atheists, agnostics, and nothing in particulars, is an opposition to organized religion. And this is growing substantially fast in the United States. In my generation, 43% of my generation falls into this category. Not of either atheist, agnostic, or nothing in particulars. Versus Christians in my generation are slightly above 50%. And then there's 4% that are other religions. So my generation is almost evenly split.
Wow.
Between,
that's crazy.
It's like a 40-60% ratio of my generation between being non-religious and a theist, which is crazy. And Sri Charan is saying, I think the future wars are going to be between the agnostic theists and the agnostic atheists.
No.
I don't know if I understand that. So I thought this was a really cool profile. And one thing that I thought was interesting.
I'm just highlighting stuff.
Really saying there are a lot of deists. Yeah. They interviewed a lot of people, and I watched some of their interviews that I really liked. And a lot of the people that were like, oh, I'm an ex-Catholic because I'm gay. And one woman that they profiled literally said, you know, I do have some like crystals charging in my window right now. And then she literally identifies herself. What might be happening is more than likely a placebo effect, but I just like the idea in something bigger than myself.
Wow.
And I thought that was like very, very self-aware, very educated in the sense of like being able to self-identify, have insight into the process that is likely happening when you engage in a spiritual practice. And I'm like, this is what I can get behind. Like people that actually think that crystals are going to help your endometriosis, that's really harmful. But if there's someone that likes to do Reiki because they just find that the personal attention relaxes them and brings them comfort in their body, and they understand that that's probably all a placebo effect, I think that's significantly less harmful than actually believing that just hovering your hands above someone's body is actually having a
does the placebo still work? Does the placebo still work if you know it's a placebo? I
don't know if there's actual data behind that. I don't know if anyone's actually studied that, but I would venture to say that it's probably significantly less effective.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be honest, I like to watch a lot of ASMR videos.
Let's go full circle. Let's go full meta. Okay. Okay. So the placebo will not work if you know it's a placebo, but if you know that a placebo works, then even knowing that it's a placebo, but you could convince yourself that, well, placebos work, then the placebo could work even though you know it's a placebo.
Exactly. Right. Chris is saying placebo is a hell of a drug. I love that. Yeah, like for example, I like to watch a lot of ASMR videos that are 100% like neo-spiritual new age BS. I watch a lot of ASMR videos that are like crystal massages and like Reiki and all this stuff. And I know it's all BS, but I still find it very, very relaxing. And so I have insight into that, right? I'm not engaging in this because I actually believe that this is going to have a use some sort of spiritual mechanism beyond my sight to change the energy fields within my body. I don't believe that. I'm like, the noises of the crystals going against each other in my ear sounds very nice. I like to hear the sounds of the head massage. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is, right, but this new age neo-spiritual BS is very relaxing.
I mean, I think like people could still go to churches if they enjoy it without believing in it. I think non-religion and atheism could grow faster if we weren't sensitive about people who just like the aesthetics and sounds of things.
We're going to talk about that in our last profile, actually. So hang on to that thought.
Okay. Because they're like, hey, like people enjoy Harry Potter. You don't have to believe in it to enjoy it. The part is the part that is dangerous is the belief, right? So if we could tell people that if you like the look of a church and you like the things that they say there, and you just want to go there just to hang out with people, you could go there as an atheist. Like, why do you have to? You don't have to be religious. Just go there. Just enjoy the environment.
No, like, Armin, you're actually onto something. You're actually onto something, and we're going to talk about that in the last story. So keep that thought in mind.
Right. Okay.
Asian American, thank you for the super chat. Said, I've heard which TikTokers call witchcraft spicy psychology. I mean, I don't like that framing because psychology is actually like an empirical. It's supposed to have an empirical basis. But I think you're getting into the idea of what I mean, being like, this is about ritual for whatever reason is something that is very important to the human mind. So if you can engage in ritual without the beliefs that you're actually casting spells on people, I think that's fine. Oh, and Newman gave us a super chat saying, you guys are doing a great job. Love you all. Thank you. Oh, and Chris is saying you guys are awesome. Glad to be a monthly donor. Thank you, Chris. And thank you for making sure that Atheist Republic continues as strong as ever. Stronger than ever, actually.
I think Engaging American had 2 of the same super chat. Another witch doctor. Yeah, okay. That was 2 of the same super chat. Well, thank you. All right. So let's highlight this. Can we clap for the next news? I mean, I think we can.
Yes, we can, because we're going to talk about our ex-Muslim brothers and sisters.
Okay, and ex-Christians as well in this area, I think.
True.
All right. Yep. Next news.
The secret atheists of the Arab world. In the Middle East and North Africa, many non-believers or nuns, ranging from agnostics to atheists, navigate their existence in a region deeply intertwined with religious beliefs. The social fabric of these regions is permeated by religious practices, from the omnipresent call to prayer to references to God in everyday greetings. Non-believers often hide their views to avoid potential repercussions, including ostracism, threats, or even retaliation from authorities. A 27-year-old Tunisian woman encapsulated the sentiment, stating, quote, "I have a double life all the time. It's better than having conflict every day. Many find solace and community in online spaces, albeit fraught with their own risks." Mustafa Kamel Al-Sayed, a Cairo University professor, highlighted the region's historical ties to religion, stating, quote, "The Middle East is the birthplace of the 3 heavenly religions," and noted that the negative perception many have to those without religious affiliation. Despite atheism not being directly criminalized in countries like Egypt, other laws, like those against blasphemy, can be used to target non-believers. For instance, Iran recently executed 2 men on blasphemy charges, and Saudi Arabia sentenced another to 10 years and 2,000 lashes for expressing atheism on Twitter. In this delicate landscape, some non-believers aim for a harmonious existence. Ahmed, a Lebanese now living in Qatar, shared, quote, "We have an unspoken agreement. I don't criticize religion and you don't criticize my lack of religion." However, societal challenges remain a daily struggle for many. The idea is saying, sounds exhausting. I can only imagine. But like this woman expressed in this article, having a double life is better than having threats and instability and conflict constantly, or she's made that decision for herself. So of course, given that the Associated Press is doing this giant profile on non-religious movements and people around the world, I was thrilled to see that they had an entire article dedicated to people in the Middle East who are rejecting religion. Because I'm going to be honest, I low-key think that ex-Muslims are going to save the world. But maybe that's just my own personal bias. So I really appreciated seeing the struggle that obviously there are other religious faiths and practices in the Middle East. I'm not trying to erase anyone's existence, but if we're being honest, this primarily affects ex-Muslims. So I was thrilled to see their lived experiences being highlighted in this article. And I think, you know, the whole lived experience thing, I don't like it when it's in a very woke sense of the term, when people use, oh, well, that's my lived experience, basically as a way to shut down any further thought or criticism. But in articles like this, for people that aren't familiar with the issue, tying it to a person and talking about that individual's life is how the people who don't know about this become familiar. You know, you have to bring the human element into it, because then we empathize more. It's just how our brains work. You know, even though the statistics might tell a better story, it's actually the personalizing of it that is going to make it tangible for the average reader. One thing that I thought was lacking in this article was they talk kind of about the social consequences a lot in this article. And they also talked about how the Arab Spring may have influenced some of the rise of non-religious people in the Middle East. But what I thought was lacking was, I did not feel like it properly articulated the amount of threat that people experience on a daily basis. I'm like, when I read this article, I did not leave the article with a sense of the danger that people live with. And given the fact that this is the work I've been doing for the past 3 years, and I'm so familiar with the danger that people experience because of their lack of religion and on a very frequent basis, that really disappointed me. Because I really feel like it is important for people that don't know about this issue to really appreciate how dangerous this can be to a lot of people. Not even from a government basis, oftentimes just from their community or from their family. But overall, I was thrilled to see this highlighted in such a major publication.
Another thing that is, I don't know if it's lacking or not, does it talk about how big atheism and anti-religious views is growing in Iran? Because when it's covering the Middle East?
It didn't talk about Iran. It mainly focused on Arab countries. And of course, I know that there are Arabs in Iran, but the only time it mentioned Iran was talking about the two men, Yusuf Mehrdad and Sadrullah Fazeli Zareh, who were executed for blasphemy because they were in
So
a
why
Taliban jail
would
that
you
had
not
Irving Khan.
highlight? You're talking about 9 non-believers in the Middle East who shouldn't. We have the highest rise of non-believers in the, not just in the Middle East, but in the world, is happening in Iran. So why would that
in
not
human
take
history?
center stage in human history? Yeah, why is that not taking center stage in this article, in this highlight? That's weird that they don't.
It is very weird. It was a major oversight in this article. They only mentioned Iran when talking about those executions.
Yeah, guys, we're not exaggerating when we tell you this. The largest mass exodus out of religion in the history of the world is happening in Iran. You know, just so that you don't think I'm making this stuff up, let me actually go and find the study really quickly for you guys, right? So, because I think, like, so he's talking Middle East. Iran is part of the Middle East. Iran is part of the Middle East. Like, how could you not cover that, right? So if we go down here, so Iran is supposed to be a Muslim country. A lot of people consider Iran to be a Muslim country, right? Right. So
surprise,
first of
it's
all,
a Muslim minority country. Oh, you thought?
Look at this. It's Iran is a Muslim minority country. Look, this is scientifically collected data, right? So if you add the Shia Muslims, which is 32%, to where the other Muslims? Okay, here, Sunni Muslims. This is just 5%. So let's go up to 37%. Let's see if we go to 50% or not, right? So where are the other Muslims? Baha'is, that's just 0.5%. Okay, so let's just say 38.
Are Baha'is
And
Muslim?
then, I mean, let's just say Muslim-ish. Okay, Muslim.
Because
I'm just
all
trying
the
to be as
Baha'is
charitable.
I know would be upset to hear
I
that.
know. They're a sect that comes out of Islam. So I'm just gonna mystical Sufi. I'm gonna give them the Sufis. Okay. So we're what are we up to? We're up to 41%. Okay, that's less than 40% of Iran is Muslim. So that makes Iran a Muslim minority country, right? So also the people who label themselves atheists is like 9%, but I would say atheists are higher because this is who labels themselves as an atheist. But if you actually see who doesn't believe in God, it's closer to 20%, 22% of the people. So actually that's like comparable to countries like US and stuff. But here's the most, so that's God. But what about religion? So how have your religious beliefs changed during your lifetime? I think this is not even a fair translation because non-religious, when it says, like, you can see the red says it means non-religious, but the non-religious in English seems like somebody that could have a religion but be not very religious, right? But if you look at the Persian word, it means without. That better translation, because the surveys were in Persian, I think a better translation would be without religion, like nuns. These would be the nuns. This red is the nuns, right? So in Iran, the nuns are. So no, this is the people, how people have changed their beliefs. So you can see about half of the population of Iran has moved out of religion. So this is actually more significant than other people in the world, because these are not people who are not religious because they're born not religious. They have changed their mind in one lifetime, in one generation. So around half of Iran has left religion. This in one generation, in the past 40 years. Again, this is a country of more than 85 million people, right? And around half of it has went from having a religion to not having any religion, even though still 80%, 76% of them, 78% of them, sorry, believe in God. They have no religion. You don't have this anywhere in the world. In the history of mankind, this has never happened. More than 40 million people going from being religious, having a religion, to not having any religion in one generation, in one lifetime. So again, this should have been this. I think that AP should have just a completely separate piece on Iran. I mean, why would they not do that, especially with the Zan Zendegi Azadi, the woman life freedom revolution that it has such a secular, it's so secular and so anti-religion. I mean, we have people in Iran burning their hijab, people in Iran, chanting against religion, people coming in the streets and chanting against religion in a country where leaving Islam is punishable by death. You have thousands of protesters chanting against religion. And why wouldn't AP? I mean, I'm glad Associated Press has highlighting all these atheism around the world, but how could that not get its own article, separate from everything else? So, anyways,
no, I agree. I don't think there's enough attention paid to this. Like, it is, and when people do talk about it, they're like, "Oh, look, Iran is becoming so non-religious all of a sudden," and there's a lack of awareness of we've literally never seen a shift away from religion documented to this extent ever. So
yeah,
that's not even emphasized enough.
Yeah, and it's okay. Iran is moving way past being non-religious. Iran is entering a new phase of being anti-religion. Right? So much so that it's becoming part of Iranian culture now. We're now even seeing rituals forming around being not just non-religious, but being anti-religious, like poetry, name-giving ceremonies. I covered this with Elliot on Secular Jihadists, right? Like people, when children are born, in the name-giving ceremony, they are talking about being against religion after a child being born. Like, they're ritualizing being anti-religion? Where in the world is this happening other than Iran? Anyways.
I get it. I mean, we get so heated about this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so we had a few comments. Newman is saying, back to Newman. We still figure out every day how to pronounce his name. Maybe
Newman.
Inshallah.
It was a habit.
We will get it one day.
Get that right. We'll get it right.
Wiley Coyote is saying, can't donate, but I love your work. Thank you so much. Guys, if you can't donate, there's other ways you can support us. You can make sure you like our stream, give us a comment, help us pay homage to the algorithm gods. Okay, that's how you can help us. And also, if there is more that that you want to do for us, you can also volunteer, because it's not just about money, right? It's also about our community, and a huge part of our community are our volunteers that make everything we do possible. So link is in the description if you're also interested in that. JMP is saying hi, ex-Muslim atheist from Sri Lanka. Hello, thanks for joining us. And Zaid is saying the double life is real. I used to win Quran recitation competitions at school while being an atheist. Hell yeah.
Beautiful. I like that. That's great. Oh, Daniel, look at that.
Wow, Daniel just gifted 5 Atheist Republic memberships. Thank you so much, Daniel. Guys, if you just received a membership from Daniel, make sure to use some of the emojis in the live chat. Your new gifts. Thank
you, Daniel.
I want to hear what people's favorite emojis are. I think my favorite is still going to be me licking the Quran. It's just so funny.
Always. All right. Can we clap for the next news?
One thing. Toby Luke is saying, I don't understand why your videos don't get more views. They deserve many more. Well, thank you. Again, please pay homage to the algorithm gods, okay? Help us with engagement on our videos. That will recommend our videos to more people. So if that's something you'd like to see, there actually is something you can directly do to help us improve that. So I appreciate it.
All right. Can we clap for the next news?
Yes.
All right. Next news.
The silent surge of secularism in Israel. Okay, before we get into this, guys, I know that this is very hot and people are very strong and emotional and activated about this. Okay, this is not about the conflict. This is literally just about the lives of non-religious people in Israel. So for this segment, I don't want people in the live chat to be making it about this conflict, because in many ways, it's going to be the non-religious people in Israel that lead us to a better future. Okay? So let's just get that out of the way. Okay. In a nation like Israel, renowned for its religious fervor, it's strikingly significant that a significant portion of its population is secular. A 2021 Israeli Central Bureau of Statistics survey highlighted that among Israeli Jews aged over 20, about 45% identified as secular or non-religious. Furthermore, 33% practiced quote unquote a traditional religious worldview, while ultra Orthodox Jews or Haredim constituted only 10%. Nonreligious, founder of Enlightened Israel, champions the notion that for many secular Israelis, Jewish identity is more cultural, rooted in the Hebrew language and shared history rather than traditional religious worship. He asserts what defines us is our language, our heritage, but doesn't involve faith in God. This sentiment is reinforced by the fact that approximately 4,000 people in Israel, or 1 in 7 Haredi education system graduates, depart from the ultra-Orthodox community every year, underscoring the evolving nature of religious identity within the country. So to put that into context, every year 4,000 people leave the ultra-Orthodox community. 1 in 7, which is significant considering that Haredi families tend to have 6 children.
Wait, so how would that work out? Because aren't they making? Wouldn't that still be a win for the religious? They're making so many babies. So what's the net effect?
I don't know. I just know that they said that about 1 in 7 Haredi leave every year, and Haredi families on average have about, I think, 6.1 children. Okay. That means that this likely touches every family.
Okay, they have 6 children, and 1 in 7 of them are leaving. That's not gonna. They're still winning though. Unfortunately, that doesn't work in our favor.
Well, that
they have too many kids.
I have controversial opinions about the government systems surrounding the ultra-Orthodox community in Israel. But this article was really interesting because it mostly focused on the lives and experiences of people that leave the ultra-Orthodox or Haredi community, and how there are certain nonprofits that are set up to help people leave the Haredi community. But then on the other side, that there are government systems that basically are focused on trying to get Haredi people into like tech jobs and stuff. But then if you leave the Haredi community, you no longer have access to those programs, even though like that was your background, that was your upbringing, and you're disadvantaged because of how tightly controlling that background and upbringing was, right? A lot of Haredi like don't teach their children English, which is going to be a major setback in the workplace, especially in a country like Israel. It also profiled other groups. I think, it was Enlightened Israel, who gives out free smartphones to the Haredim. And they've distributed over 3,000 smartphones. So I thought that was really amazing, because a major criticism and concern I have with the Haredim community is how tight of information control the community practices, and they don't like media or smartphones because it's a popular belief that is basically a window into sin and a window into this horrible sinful world, right? But in practice, that's information control, and that's a very destructive practice for a group to engage in. I'm sorry. I think I just cut you off. I think you were about to say something.
No, that's okay. Look at this. Look at this graph. This is for. This is what I'm talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is what is this? the Haredim set up to make 16% of Israel's population by 2030. So look at so the yellow is the just your average Jewish person in Israel, and the red is the Arabs, and the Arabs are growing, and the normal Jewish person are growing as well. But look at the blue. Look how fast the blue is growing. That's the ultra orthodox. These are the people responsible for making Israel more and more religious, and for religion kind of coming more into politics, into schools, and into military. This blue line is why Israel is so weak right now in defending itself. Right? This and that blue line is increasing. I don't know if 1 in 7 is enough to. I know some of them are leaving. Some of this blue line people are leaving. The ultra orthodox religious people in Israel are leaving religion, but they're just growing so fast. I mean, they kind of see it as their duty to make as many children as possible, because they are actually. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is what Israeli people say themselves. Okay, I've been to Israel. I've talked to many people there. Okay, I'm not saying, like, I'm not making an accusation based on nothing here. They know that they are less in the country, and they are actively trying to have more babies to change the demographics of Israel. So, and this is dangerous. We could lose. I mean, the greatest threat to Israel is this blue line, right? This blue line, this rise of ultra orthodox Judaism in Israel is going to make Israel more and more weak. It's going to divide Israel against itself, and it's going to leave it vulnerable against external threats. I mean, we have been saying that for many years now, this is going to make Israel weak. And now actually you see the results. We were right. We were right about this. It happened. And now we're going to continue raising this alarm, and something needs to be done about this. This is why, again, another salute to all the atheist activists in Israel. I've been to Israel. I know the work that they do. I know all the effects that they are having, and they are, another example again today why atheist activism is so important, and why religion is in the way. Religion is in the way. Religion is the main, in many places in the world, it's the main reason why we can't have nice things, right? In Israel, in Nigeria, in India, progress is being slowed down, and in many places completely stopped because of religion. So, guys, again, please either be an atheist activist or support atheist activists like us. Support this channel. But isn't this horrible? Look at that blue line. Look at how fast it's growing.
Well, I want to be careful about the way that you're saying that, Armin, because you talking about Jewish people having more babies and how that being a bad thing can be misconstrued in a very bad way.
I'm not talking about Jewish people. Look at that yellow line. I'm not talking about that. That yellow line is also Jewish people. Okay, I'm talking about the blue line. This is ultra orthodox people. Okay, so guys, please don't misinterpret.
I know, but a lot of people would perceive that as extremely anti-Semitic.
Okay. So thank you for mentioning that. So I'm trying to be more clear. Okay, I say this as a Zionist myself. Okay, I've been to Israel. I talked to Jewish atheist activists in Israel. Okay, people who consider themselves to be ethnically Jewish. Okay, they see this as a danger to Israel. Okay, I see this as a danger to Israel. The reason why this is not anti-Semitic is because I love Israel and I want to defend Israel, and this is a threat to Israel. How could this be anti-Semitic when I'm saying this as a way to defend Israel? I think Israel needs to exist as a place where Jewish people could feel safe, and this is a threat to that. So this is not anti-Semitic. This is actually pro-Jewish, because I'm saying this so that Jewish people have a country where they could call home, where they could feel safe. Is that enough explanation for why what I'm saying is not anti-Semitic? I think I made myself clear.
I just think that especially during these times and in general, it's really important to be clear and say it loudly for the people that aren't familiar with us, what we mean by that. And for me, it comes from a very simple position. If I see a group en masse engaged in destructive behaviors as defined by my own study of psychology and also thought reform and social control and cult abusive behaviors, if I see any group engaged in those, I'm going to have major concerns about it, especially when it comes to the safeguarding of children and the ability for children to choose a lifestyle for themselves individually and freely. And this is one of those instances where it is an issue. So we should just be, we can talk about that.
Also, this is bad for the ultra-Orthodox Jewish people themselves, okay? Because when you are having more children because it's your religious duty or because you're trying to save the country, that means that you're kind of messing up your own family. Like you're not your priority should be like how many kids we need to have that is good for us as a family, rather than like what am I doing to serve God or the nation, right? So this doesn't just harm other people, it harms the people who are making these decisions as well, right?
Well, my understanding is that the ultra-Orthodox community, the Hardim, receive a disproportionate amount of social welfare, and they have all these very specific social welfare programs, which is part of how they're allowed, why you see these trends. And I'm not the most educated on it, but from what I know, I was deeply troubled by it.
Yeah, but it's circular. It's circular. Are you there with us? Is Susie?
Yeah.
Okay. So sorry, you froze for me. It's circular. So these social programs are there because they are having more babies so they could vote to keep those social programs in place. And the social programs depends on how many they are, and how many they are, it's causing them to keep those social programs.
And then it's actually like a taboo within their community to join the IDF.
Right.
So then they have a huge population of men that are of age to defend the nation, and they don't defend the nation.
They don't even work.
That's what's most troubling for me. I mean, I believe in conscientious objection, but that's something I've been thinking about recently. I need to.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. It's worse than everybody else has to serve in the military and protect the country, and they don't. They don't even work. Let alone, it's not just military service; it's any work. The government has to pay them for them to just stay at home and read religious texts. I mean, they're not contributing, and they're rising in number. And there's they have all these programs to just make sure that they get paid with other people's tax money. Everybody else has to work, and they just get to stay at home just because they happen to be religious. It's insane.
Yeah, I do really want to learn more about myself personally. I want to understand better from what I understand. I was deeply concerned, and I thought any society that existed like that would have an extreme social and national burden placed upon it. But yeah, I do need to know the specifics.
Yeah. Guys, is Susie getting choppy for you guys, or is it just me? If it's just me, it's fine.
I did drop out for a second.
Oh, okay. So it's you. Okay.
I'm back.
You chopped up. Okay, you're back. Okay, cool. All right. Can we clap for the next news?
Yes, we can. This is fun.
Yeah, we don't get many Japan news, so this is very fun. All right. Next news.
Next news. Why secular Japanese can't resist the lure of shrines. In secular Japan, the allure of temples and shrines isn't just about faith, it's about tradition and collecting beautifully designed stamps known as goshuin. Momo Nomura, who's made a hobby out of this tradition, mentions, quote, it's a mindfulness kind of thing, highlighting her non-religious perspective. With around 70% of the Japanese populace sharing similar sentiments, being non-religious, the connection to such places often leads more towards familial and communal ties rather than strict theological beliefs. As Ryosuke Okamoto, a religious professor, insightfully points out, in Japan, faith is not considered an important element of religion. So this is really fun. Okay, this is just fun for me. So again, this is part of the Associated Press global profile on non-religion around the world, and they had this profile of Japan, and they basically talk about like this new trend that's come out where Japan is vastly by majority non-religious, but there's been kind of a surge of people going to visit shrines. And it's because at shrines, they've started to do this practice of goshuin, which is basically they give you these little stamps. Like, look at these. They this practice of giving out these stamps that full of calligraphy and these little designs to kind of commemorate or certify your shrine visit. So a lot of people have started the practice of collecting all these stamps and becoming these goshuin collectors because they like the stamps, they like the little designs. You go, ring the bell, you clap, and you kind of have your moment. And for many people, it's a mindfulness practice, but then also they want the stamps. And it's really not religious. There might be some vague tie to ancestor worship, like they might in particular go to a shrine from their family's historical village or whatever. And this is how religious sites and shrines have begun to stay alive in the face of most Japanese not being religious really at all. And I thought this was really cool. And that this is, Armin, what you were talking about earlier, really what religion is going to move towards. So here's a photo of a shrine maiden certifying the stamps, like making the little stamp booklets. And I thought this was really cute. And also I understand it because these stamps look pretty freaking cool. And I have a few more thoughts, but Armin, I just want your initial reaction.
Well, I have a lot of thoughts, so if you let me talk, I'm going to talk for a while about this.
Okay, then I'll give my last thought. One thing that impressed me about this article, or impressed upon me, was there was a religious professor, and he talks about how in Japanese society, faith is not a requirement of religious practice the way that it is in Abrahamic faiths. And when I was reading that hit me. And I'm like, you know what? This is what Gation American has been telling us for years about us Abrahamics, is this emphasis on the mandatory, the mandate of faith, right? It's so central to Abrahamic belief. And it's just very interesting for me as someone not from this background, to understand that that's really not a requirement. Because to me, that just seems so fundamental, right? And I think that's really positive, and I think that's what religious practice and cultural religious practice needs to move towards, is a de-emphasis of faith. Because what Armin in particular always talks about is that faith really is the poison, because it's such a flawed epistemology. That's one of the main harms, is faith as a dangerous epistemology or understanding of how to develop and understand truth. So that's the end of my thoughts. Armin, take it away.
No, so this is really helpful to us. I'm so glad this is happening in Japan, and I just want to tell people who might be new here about our philosophy, at least, and what we've been saying for a while, is that we are against religious reform, but we are for secularization, right? So and I see reforming religion and secularizing religion as the polar opposite of each other. When usually people refer to reform, what they usually mean, because you could define these things in many different ways. But when people talk about reform, they usually mean changing the practices and keeping the faith. And what I see as secularization is the opposite of that. Maybe keeping some of the rituals and then removing the faith. And usually when we try to give an example is like Christmas, for example. Like a lot of people take part in Christmas. It's not really about Jesus. It's not really about God. It's not really about religion. It's just like the gifts. It's more about Santa than it's about Jesus, right? They like the rituals. They like the music. And the problem we have with religion is not the ritual parts. It's mostly the faith part. Like I usually give people example of Harry Potter. Like we could enjoy Harry Potter without it being harmful, because we understand that these are stories, and we could take part in rituals, like wear a robe, have wands, have fun with it. But Harry Potter would be dangerous if people actually believe that this is representing reality. It would have been like, imagine if your kids like packed up and tried to go and went look for Hogwarts, right? So religion, the problem with religion is the faith part, not the ritual part. And I think the process of people becoming atheists or non-religious will be easier if we allowed the rituals to continue, because we know scientifically that humans need rituals. And many atheists sometimes try to figure out, okay, well, we are getting rid of rituals with religion, we need to replace it with rituals. I'm like, why do you need to come up with rituals are created through a long history. It's a long tradition. It has gone through its own social meme Darwinism, and there's been a lot of trial and error. We could just keep the religious rituals, and we could just make it better. We could enjoy what we have. And it has two positive effects. First of all, it makes religious people process of becoming atheists or non-religious easier, because they don't have to give up all the childhood memories they have, all the rituals they have. So the process becomes easier, all the community they have, and also they're fun. Like, we know for a lot of people, these are the rituals that survive throughout history. So why do we need to create rituals? We could just be atheists and enjoy the very same religious rituals, just like we do with Christmas. And the reason why I'm happy this is happening in Japan is because now we have more examples, right? We have more examples because we keep having to use Christmas as an example. But now in Japan, like, we could use this as a model, as a role model for other places doing the same thing. By the way, another example that we give is Jewish culture. Like in Israel, for example, a lot of atheists take part in religious rituals because it's just part of their culture. I mean, there are even rabbis that I think Richard Dawkins was interviewed, a rabbi that's like, it's like they don't believe in God. A rabbi doesn't believe in God. They ask rabbis, like, do you think, I'm not saying most rabbis are like this, but we have this thing that many rabbis, you ask them, well, do you believe in the story of Moses and stuff? They're like, of course not. These are just stories. These are just myths. And like, okay, this is a rabbi saying this. So you can see that in Jewish culture, we have now a major rising group of atheists that are still seeing this as part of their history, part of culture, part of their tradition, and even without believing in it, they're taking part in it. So I think, given that Christians, maybe one day we could do that with many traditions in Islam. We're seeing that happening in Western Muslims in Western countries. We're seeing like that happening with Ramadan. And by the way, I'm going to use a dirty word here. Okay, I think the way to do this is commercializing it. I know people see commercialization as something dirty, but
capitalistic, consumeristic swine.
But this is what's happening. I mean, look at this. These temples are doing business. They're trying to stay relevant. These are customers. Okay, so of course you have to commercialize it. Commercialization is a good thing. Commercializing things brings peace, more peace. And what does commercialization mean? It means more trade. Trade brings more peace. Trade brings prosperity. Okay, and if you want religion to be religious traditions to be less harmful, you bring it away from the heavens and the afterlife to this world, right? Prosperity focuses the attention of humans to this world rather than the fake next world. That's what commercialization does. And given that this world is the only one that we have, I say commercialize the hell out of everything. Do it. Because we are for life. their religions by faith, the faith in religion is for death. Non-religion is about focusing on life. And again, the rituals are beautiful. They are enjoyable. They enrich culture. They enrich people's experiences. We need excuses to make ourselves feel special, and this is doing that. We know mentally religion has very effectively tried to take advantage of human needs, human emotions, to feed us some poison right next to it. So why not just remove that poison, which is the faith, which is the revelation, right? Which is the belief part, and just maintain the rituals, just remove the poison out of it, right? So if you consider religion to be a poison pill with the sugar coating so that you could feed that pill to people, the poison in the middle is the faith, the sugar coating, which is the sweet part, is the rituals, right? So what reform is trying to do is to maintain the poison within, but what secularization is trying to do is remove the poison and keep the sugar.
I think that's an excellent way of putting it. And also, I just want to highlight that Daniel gifted another 10 memberships to our community. Thank you very much, Daniel. That's really generous. And we got a bunch of super chats. So let's read these out. Young Atheist is celebrating his membership for 2 months. Thank you, friend. And he's saying, you are giving voice to the voiceless. Keep it up. Thank you for helping us out. Asian American once again coming in with a mystery in the super chat for thought. That's what I'll start framing it as. His very creative food for thought. He's saying communal marriages to boost fertility. 8 parents to 38 young. So I'm assuming that means that it'd be like a family of 8 adults raising 32 children. Oh my God, that sounds like a lot. Artificial wombs might create a mass-produced offspring for corporations. This is a lot to unpack. JMP framed this in an interesting way. He's saying Japanese don't believe in religion, they just do religion. That's a very interesting way of framing it. I like that.
Yeah.
Secular Sakai gave us a $10 super chat. Thank you, Sakai. Saying a loved one really wanted me to attend a church. I said only if I could choose so. So I went to a Unitarian Universalist place. They had a brochure and a speaker attending from the Freedom from Religion Foundation. It was weird to see FFRF in a church. I think Unitarian Universalists are the closest thing that we have in North America to like secularized religion. It's very, very similar. They're basically just like one step away from being atheist. It's very much like, all paths lead to one, and that one is universal love. Like they're very interesting people and very open-minded and chill from my experience. Asian American gave another super chat saying it's like that in most of East Asia. The 79th descendant of Confucius work as the second sacrificial official to Confucius in Taiwan. Fascinating. And this is a great question. He's also asking, what chapter of your respective ex-faiths would you like to see adapted into a multi-million-dollar anime series? I thought about this, and 100% it would be the book and the Revelation of Ezekiel. If you have read the Revelation of Ezekiel, it is very intense. The imagery is insane. The Ophim, the Seraphim that he's describing are perfect for anime. The descriptions of the angels, the descriptions of the throne of God are perfect for anime. So I think the book of Ezekiel 100%. Armin, what do you think would be some good anime?
Oh my God. I mean, I'm torn between what I would enjoy seeing and what people need to see. So I would say, for my personal pleasure, I would say when the devil rebelled against God, and God basically cast them down, right? So that would be my personal favorite. But for people to see, I don't know if I can say this on the live chat, as Muhammad's mass execution of the Banu Qurayza tribe, right?
Oh
Which is,
God, that sounds very depressing.
yeah, but Banu Qurayza tribe, for people who don't know, unfortunately was a Jewish tribe, and Muhammad ordered the execution of 700 of them in one day. Right. And also he sold the women and children to slavery to buy weapons with the money of selling them. So that would, unfortunately. So
if I had to
I think
choose
given what's
a part of
happening these
Islam
days,
to be an anime, I think it should be either the Battle of Karbala.
ooh,
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
yeah. I just said that given what's happening these days, I think people should know that this is Islamic.
Yeah. I saw you highlighted a few other things in the live chat. Do you want to highlight those?
Well, Seed is just happy that he's a member. So like,
he's a member again.
I'm agreeing. Yeah. Also, quickly addressing this, Rashid is saying capitalism and commercializing is the biggest poison as it destroys the planet through climate change. It's actually the opposite. This is a misunderstanding. If you note that which countries are going to have the technologies to be able to move us past fossil fuels, those are going to be the countries that are the most economically developed. So the faster we could progress economically, the faster we're going to have the solutions to move past burning fossil fuel. So anything that slows down the economy is going to keep us in this fossil fuel phase longer. So, capitalism and commercializing is the best way to save the planet. All right.
Did you see my message in the private chat?
Yes, I did. I have it ready.
Okay, wonderful.
I have it ready. Yeah.
Well, great, guys. I have an exciting announcement. Literally, as we were here on the show, 2 new people became monthly donors. So, well, I'm not gonna say their name only because I don't know if they want that information out there. It's different than, on YouTube where it's very public. But thank you to the people watching who just became monthly donors. That means we have 16 out of our goal of 50 monthly donors to bring back our news team. And this is really exciting. So, guys, there is someone in the live chat that is very angry about our fundraising efforts, and I'm not going to fully dignify that because a lot of people fail to understand that this is literally the business model of a nonprofit. So that's how this entire industry works. That being said, what I would like to address what they were saying to a certain extent. Our fundraiser of our emergency fundraising was very successful, and we almost doubled our goal, which is an amazing gift to us from our community. And the result of that surplus of donations is basically going into reserves for us. And that's to make sure that we remain more stable over a longer period of time. And not only is that going into our surplus fund, but I need to dedicate a certain amount of that funds to doing other administrative and tax-related work and services to keep us in compliance with the government. So this is all very necessary. This is all required for us as a nonprofit. So that's what some of that surplus is going towards. And also, for us to remain stable in the long term, we need to keep that surplus in reserves. And then on top of that, we need to separately raise the funds to bring our news team back. That is simply the smartest way for us to go about navigating this financial situation. So like I said, for us to bring back our news team in its full capacity and to the quality that you guys know and expect from us, we are pushing our fundraiser for 50 $10 monthly donors. We also have included a fun 666 membership tier just because it's fun and I think the novelty, but you don't have to give 666. You don't have to give $10 every month. If you're able to, that's lovely. But if there is simply $1, if it's $2, $3 a month that you can give to us, to give to the show, that you come to every week, that you find value from our work, that you enjoy what we have to say. Maybe you feel like we give a perspective that you can't find anywhere else. Or maybe you appreciate the fact that there are a lot of people around the world that don't have many other places where they can come and find like-minded community. And they come here to find people where they feel like they belong. And you want to support that. You want to continue to make sure that those people, those young atheists, those kids that can't really go talk to anyone in their community, or they're afraid of their, can have fun with us and feel like they belong. And so that's one of the many things that you're contributing to when you give to us. So thank you to everyone that became a monthly donor literally today. And if you have the capacity to become a monthly donor to make sure that our work can continue and that this show can continue in the programming that you love, consider becoming a monthly donor. Link is right in the top of the description, and I will also put it in the live chat. Oh, you're muted, Armin.
Right. So Noman is saying, Noman. Okay, I'm saying that right. I wish I could donate more. No, Noman, do not wish that. Just focus on yourself. Guys, people don't donate to us if you're not financially stable. Please don't donate to us if you're not financially stable. Just like and comment and share our videos. Those are free. Those don't cost anything, and that would really, really help us. So there's that. Okay. So also, Fedaigen is saying, I hope that's also open via YouTube, not just PayPal. Yeah, we have YouTube membership. If you want to help us with YouTube membership, with super chats, we have PayPal in the description. We also have our YouTube donate button that, right after the stream is over, I will turn on the YouTube donate, which is, you could donate to us through YouTube. So there are so many options for you to help us. And thank you for being interested. Seed of Iblis is saying, hearing the number 666 activates the beast within me. Boy, am I hungry. Oh, by the way, Seed of Iblis means the seed of the devil. So I understand. I don't understand why that's making you hungry, but just when Iblis is basically Lucifer, guys. And also, you want to read this one?
9 Lives gave us $5. Thank you, Ben, saying agree to stop. What?
Susie, your microphone changed. I don't know why. Your microphone switched to another mic. So Ben 9 Lives I will read it. With the $5 super chat saying, agree, stop the murder bombing of innocent people. Yes, I agree. Hamas should stop attacking innocent people so that bombing of innocent people will stop. I completely agree with that. Yeah. I think Hamas should disarm and surrender itself to the IDF so that all of these bombings can stop. Completely agree with that. But yeah, but I also agree that IDF probably will do some violations of, there are going to be many things that IDF does that are wrong, that should be called out. But also, let's remember how this all started and how all of this could end. The only way that all of this could end is if we could end Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Islamic Republic of Iran. That's the only way all of this will stop. Ben with the $5 super sticker, so thank you so much. I appreciate that as well. By the way, we will talk more about this with me and Elliot. We'll talk more about this on our show. And I have another show on this on this channel, so you could subscribe to see my opinions on this. And Elliot will come and we will have a lot more to talk about that. And also on Secular Jihadists, I have a lot of videos talking about the situation. So I'm going to release that hopefully in the next 1 or 2 days. So make sure you go and subscribe to the Secular Jihadist channel as well. Is your microphone back?
Yes, I was hoping that we could make it through the end of the show without it becoming an Israel-Palestine thing, but what can you do?
No, it's okay. No, it's important. No, it's important that we highlight some of the comments that people have. But again, I will get into a lot more detail on all of this with Elliot. Right? It's okay. And guys, even if we have different opinions, let's try to listen to each other. Right? We will all have wrong takes. We will all have wrong takes. What matters is that our intentions is to try to make life better for everybody, right? And at first we have to agree upon that. Everything else is disagreements on how we get there. But even if you disagree with the people who have different takes than you, please try to recognize that if their intention is actually genuinely trying to make life better for a highest number of people, you're on the same side. Okay, you're on the same side. All right.
Yeah, see, Imran, who has some strong disagreements with you, agrees on that. He's 100%.
Yes. Yeah, I might be. Yeah, Imran disagrees with me, but I might be wrong. Imran might be correct, but we have the same goal. Our intention is to make life better for Palestinians and Israelis. That's what we want, and everyone else. All right, guys.
Wait, I just found this amusing. We have Israelistine, and then also free Pazriel.
Yeah,
free Pazriel, free Israelistine.
Yeah. All right, guys. So I'll talk to you guys about all of this in the next show. Make sure you come there. I'm also going to go release some of these videos about my thoughts on the Secular Jihadist show, and me and Susanna will see you again same time next week. So stay tuned for that. All right, guys.
I had such a fun day today. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you for being here.